Good morning everybody, thank you very much for joining me. Today's reading is going to be what's blocking this connection. You're going to have two choices and we're going to dig deeper into each of these choices rather than doing three as normal, just to try something a bit different. So the first choice is the Five of Cups and the second choice is the Two of Swords. So whichever one catches your eye or that you're drawn to, make that one your choice. I'll see you in a minute.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Okay, let's do this together. What's blocking this connection? I'm going to turn them over together to tell you what I'm thinking as I turn each one over rather than just normally doing it as part of a whole. So this is the blockage here. You've got the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles can be a situation that is repeated over and over again and doesn't move forward. There's a feeling here of lack of initiative, possibly, of new energy being fed in, of just, I'll show you here, of just being in the same situation continually and it being stuck. Nobody makes the move. Nobody changes anything. Nobody calls it out. It just is, it needs a little bit of an oomph. Let's have a look what planet you've got. Pluto. Pluto can often speak of control and power and a very strong sexual pull. So to me, I would guess from what we've got here, there's a real feeling of possibly enjoying the tension and sometimes not, possibly enjoying the pull and the connection, and somebody is too afraid to make a move. Somebody's too afraid to either say let's move forward or let's change the situation. So that's the blockage there. It's a bit of a, I never know how to say this word, an impasse or impasse. I think I always say passe because I think it sounds posher, but that's what it is. And the attraction there would feel like if I lose this person or if we walk away from each other, I will feel that life is dull and I'll never find somebody that will make me feel like that again. So that's what I've got here. If we go to these cards at the beginning, how I use these are more like internal, emotional type cards to try and pad out more, to find more detail about this. So let's have a look. The Six of Cups. The Six of Cups can often be a feeling of a sense of knowing the person, like past lives spent together, or an ease or a comfort or a need to protect each other, a sweetness between each other, and there's a kindness normally with that. It feels familiar, or it could very much be somebody from your past, somebody you've known since you were young, or somebody that just feels like that. So the Hierophant and the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups tends to stick together with the other Cups cards, and if I put both those cards together, the Ten of Cups is, this feels a little bit more like sentimentality, knowing, but with a little bit more exploration in there, as in like, let's just find out and see what this connection does feel the same. If we spend more time together, I can show more kindness. The Ten of Cups, because it's the end from the 1 to the 10 in the cup cards, feels like a full stop at the end. This is what feels correct to me. So there's more, it's like stability. It's stability with hope, I guess, or optimism there, to do with emotions. This feels right. This is the person I want to spend my life with. This will be going on with the both of you, and it would be almost like we have this strange feeling in our family. I'm not going to say which way it goes or where it goes, but there's a strong need to protect. And there's dreams that come with that, or of often the other person being in trouble and having to save them. There may be something similar between the pair of you, like an unsaid need to make sure that the other one doesn't drown or doesn't lose it or is okay in life. That, as I say, it's protecting them. The Hierophant card there on this side has a different feeling. The Hierophant card gives it with the to put the Ten of Cups and the Hierophant card and the Six of Cups together gives a very familial feeling, as in like family. Is that the right word? So that gives it an element of substance and I'm going to say conviction to the connection, which may sound a bit silly. So it's what I try to translate that to an everyday term is your person feels right for you. You can't let them go because they feel like family, and vice versa. So what's blocking this is the feeling here, the Two of Pentacles, of not being able to let them go, but the Pluto being that it's almost indescribable feeling of pain if this person leaves you or you lose them, and it will go both ways. As I said, with those dreams, it's so embedded that it comes out when you're sleeping. It's like, I need to do something for this person. It's like being drawn together for something, as I said, like protection, or to spend some time together to feel strong emotions, and to have that person ripped away from you feels like your life will feel void, like a void. That's very dramatic, I know, but it's difficult to explain it, but I can feel it. And I'm not saying I feel it in like one-to-one love relationships, but I can feel this with family. So for you to feel this with somebody who I guess may be family but possibly isn't, it just feels intense, it feels meant to be, and it feels like to lose them would be the end, of you almost, like, how can I keep moving? Very sort of dramatic with Pluto there. Let's have a look at everyday activities. The Sun card, I haven't pulled the other cards over yet, obviously, but the Sun card is a card of childlike openness and sweetness, and to put it under the Six of Cups, it gives a youthful feeling of expression and kindness between the pair of you. So I don't think, even though you've got the Pluto card, when you meet each other, the blockage isn't in the communication, the blockage isn't in day-to-day activities so far. I don't know what's on these side yet, because it feels as if you are genuinely at ease in each other's company. A very, very sort of, I'm going to say nude then, because the little child on the horse and the Sun card is normally nude, but that just means open. Let's have a look on either side. Everyday activities. King of Swords. Five of Swords. Okay, so what you've got here at the top, the first thing I notice apart from the major arcana are the cup card. So emotionally it's cups, it is, it is emotion. And then you're coming down here with everyday, what happens, common sense, all the sort of, if you don't put emotions in it, how would you act? How would you think? How would you possibly try and feel? And you've got difficult cards here. The King of Swords is the card, it was the card that rules common sense and facts and figures. And then you've got here the Five of Swords, which is always a difficult card of feeling a little bit like this Pluto card must feel like it's a bit of a game going on. So to add this on to what we've seen here and to what we've seen here would be a feeling of almost like playing everyday activities in a way that the other one's slightly trying to get one up, which doesn't go with the rest of it. But to be honest, that's how life tends to fall. When you're attracted to each other, and there's softness and there's kindness, there's always going to be, because of our egos involved, there's going to be an element of protecting yourself. It could often be, right, let me just look at this relationship in a very straightforward fashion. It doesn't make sense because we can't move forward, because it's been going on a long time, possibly with these cards here, and because I feel an underlying physical draw towards this person, but I also feel there may be an element of playing with that they recognize it, and it will go both ways, and they almost slightly, like a 2%, manipulate it a little bit, because part of enjoying the game. And I think that most relationships are like this anyway, but when you say it through cards, it always sounds a little bit more, doesn't it? You've got here again a block, which very much goes with the Two of Pentacles. The twos are like decisions, and then you've got the Three of Cups here. The Sun and the Six of Cups is like an open kindness, which I think you will feel when you're talking to this person. But this block next to a sociable card can indicate that it can be, at times you speak and it's very much, lovey-dovey, looking into each other's eyes, and there's a smoothness to the conversation, and there's a really strong connection. And then with these cards here, other times when other people are around, you almost have to shut it down, possibly, or it feels a bit more awkward. But underlying feeling is, I know you. And we all know what that feels like. And I always say in readings, well, I always have said in readings, that when I was probably about 14, 15, I decided I was interested in astrology. So I went and got groups of couples around me, like my brother's boyfriend, best friend's boyfriend, girlfriend, and all that type of thing. And then I realised, and I would say 95% of the time, that out of the 3 ascendants, sun, moon, that they always swapped. There was always like somebody's moon was their partner's ascendant, or somebody's sun was their partner's moon, like Sagittarius moon. For instance, my brother, Sagittarius rising, his wife, Sagittarius moon. It was always that. And then it just brings so many different questions. To me, it does, that we just choose people who have to have a base vibration similar to ours, or we wouldn't energetically be pulled to each other anyway. You wouldn't be able to get that close. So that's what you've got here, an energetic underlying feeling of, I know you, this is easy to relate to you. We've got a history, I can't quite explain it, but it comes out in my dreams. And then you've got this feeling of tension to do with, I can't give too much away because I feel like I'm losing myself, although it's almost like I'm being pulled down a drain pipe. I want to come to you. And then this feeling here of awkwardness every now and then. So this is where the block is. This is where the underlying pull is. Does that make sense? The block is in slight competitiveness with regards to attention, possibly, or trying to logically understand the situation, saying it doesn't make sense, perhaps I should move away. And perhaps somebody is more logical than the other because of somebody here behind, maybe more emotional, feels like they're losing at times. And then you've got this feeling here of when other people are around, or when you socialise, it can be slightly awkward. Are people watching? I don't know what that means. It can also indicate as well, because as soon as I put these cards out and you've got this blockage which seems like it's repeating, is there a chance here that one of you may be in a relationship with, with somebody else anyway? As in not just between the two of you, because the 3s normally need to be backed up with something, but can often feel like that. So let's keep going. Have a look at some sort of, these are more like supportive cards to add, just to add basically. The 5 of Pentacles, my eyes would normally put these cards with these cards here. The 5 of Pentacles is a feeling of shut out of a situation. You could almost divert it this way and ask the question with the 3 of Cups, whether whether somebody goes home to somebody else and leaves you feeling like this, or whether you go home to somebody else and leave the other person feeling like this. One-upmanship, as in they're the one that's crying behind. So there is a feeling here. There's a blockage here to do with pain, to do with uncomfortableness and an uncomfortable connection, because somebody feels like their ego slightly dies a little bit because of the situation. I'll answer the question at the end. The Fool card on this side and the Queen of Pentacles on this side. To put these together could be almost an inclination that you can move this, we can move this in a very sort of, it could happen. We could be together, but big changes are needed, which is sort of said here right at the beginning. So let's start pulling this together with regards to why is this connection blocked. It's not blocked through lack of attachment. It's not blocked through a feeling that this person is meant to be in your life and then you feel at home with the person. It's not blocked through the ability to communicate easily and to feel that connection. It's blocked through over-rationalising at times with these cards here and feeling that possibly one of you should move away or it won't ever work. That type of feeling. There's a feeling here of awkwardness with regards to extras in the relationship. Not being able to speak when somebody's around, maybe a work scenario situation or a family situation where it's not really, you're not allowed to show your affection for this person, even though in private it's very easy. Or it could be, as I said, other people in the connection, which is making it incredibly awkward. There is also a feeling here that the Pluto there, and you have the 5 of Pentacles down here, there's going to be a huge element of pain. With Pluto, is there to show us where our desire natures have been in our past lives, and those desires have got so strong that we live them in very sort of big feelings in this life. And the 5 of Pentacles, to be pulled out of a situation where you automatically feel like that, can feel like a death, a mini death. And there's that feeling here, which I said at the beginning in this connection, to be pulled away from each other, it will feel like that. Now, what that the sort of added, I'm going to say bonus here is, I guess, the way that you both think that you can get through this is by restarting in a very practical way. But this sort of says, I've rationalized this and I can't get it to work. This is that we can get it to work, but it's a big shake up to make this work. Again, that Pluto energy. Once you have Pluto, perhaps a transit in your chart and you meet somebody that you like, it's often very disruptive to the status quo in your life. Like you could already be in a connection, so it's a big breakup on one end. It just changes who you are, and it allows parts of you to fall to pieces and to fall away, I suppose I'm trying to say there, that can often feel a bit cathartic as well. So that's what I've got here. In a few sentences, the blockages here are the strength of attraction, but not really, because that's part of the attraction, but it is the strength of attraction, the shake-up that it will make to get together, and whether both of you are prepared to put that effort in to be uncomfortable for quite a while with these cards here. It can nip a little bit at your ego, so sometimes you play with that when naturally you get on very easily, with very open communication, I guess, with these here. So that's what I've got. And a slight awkwardness there to do with, yeah, which I've said that before. So I'm going to leave that there. Let me just get one. Actually, I get, because it's there's a lot in there, isn't there? I'm going to get you a advice card. Which one shall we use? Let's just go for a straightforward one. Advice with you in this, for all you in this connection. Not interested, please. Basically, it's to play it cool, play it easy, take it as it is, what you actually have practically got in front of you. Don't get sucked into too much of the Pluto on a long-term game, as in like eternity game. You're supposed to be dropping the desire a little bit, but if this works and if it's not, yeah, I suppose in a way to not be interested helps you with that long-term game that I just talked about, with not always coming back time after time with some sort of karmic pattern. And also it releases you from the drama that possibly could open it up a little bit. Because with Pluto, when you put that into a connection, it can get a little bit distorted. So to relax with the whole thing is possibly the best way forward, and may actually, with the Fool card down here and the very sort of matter-of-fact Queen of Pentacles, could open it up because there is less drama. Because you've got here mucking around with facts, haven't you, with these two cards here, and it's got, well, let's just do what you can do and relax with the rest that you can't. It's losing the control, which is very Plutonic. So I'm not saying go around and snub this person, but it's just be easy going with them. Come back in this lifetime as friends and see where it goes, rather than really strong intention to have a love affair with this person, and then it may actually open up into what you want anyway. That's what I would say there. I'm going to leave that. Thank you very much. Bye. Right then, good morning. Let's have a look at what is blocking this connection. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the cards over bit by bit, go through what I can see and tell you where I can see the connections, and then you have a chance to think, oh, actually no, I don't think that is that, and you go through it with me, I suppose. So let's have a look at the blockage. You've got the Eight of Swords here, with a woman looking at herself in the mirror, all bound up, and swords are always like thoughts and communication. It's the air in it. So there's an inability it's an inability to either sort your mind out or to be able to communicate with this person. And it feels blocked, as if you don't know how to move it forward. It's got slightly awkward or slightly uncomfortable to some extent. But they're also, with the lady looking in the mirror here, there's also that sort of recognition of seeing your energy in somebody else, but not recognizing that, which I think is basically relationships, when you look at astrology, altogether anyhow. It's we see parts of ourselves in other people, and then we get to relate to ourselves to some extent with slightly little bits of sprinkles on top. But that's what you've got there, relating to somebody and it being, and the path being slightly awkward until we realize it, or thought processes being difficult, hard, not knowing which way to move, or communication. There's three things there, to be honest, being a bit stilted. Let's have a look at the extra card, Saturn card. Okay, the Saturn, to put that on that, those two cards together, is a real feeling of inhibition, of shyness, of awkwardness. When I look at translations in astrology, I've got this fantastic book that puts 3 planets together. So if you've got, it's like a midpoint book, and then as soon as you get Saturn on it, you think, oh God, I don't want to read that, because it always feels harder. I'll put a positive spin on it as well, but Saturn, with regards to the fact you're looking at thought processes and communication, can be inhibition, shyness, lack of communication, awkwardness with regards to expressing yourselves together, but could also be a form of depression as well. This is really harsh, stay with me, because Saturn can make you, and I love to look at these things because I like to, in my way, feel like I'm calling life out, because then it makes it easy to deal with. And you know, we all get parts in our lives where we feel a little bit down. And I've always said in tarot readings that my son, when he was about 11, really chirpy kid, really happy, very, very positive, probably the most positive person that I know, came to me and said, Mum, I feel depressed. So I looked at his chart, and I don't look at my kids' charts all the time. And he had Saturn, I was like on his moon or something like that. I thought, oh God, that makes sense. And it can feel like that, and you've got the mental processes here, so it can feel hard. And oftentimes we get a little bit trapped inside our heads and forget that we are just experimenting inside a body, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean literally like sexually, but just inside your own body. You're just energy inside a body that is trying to experience life. And that loosens it up slightly. What was the positive one I had here? Oh yeah, the positive one, when I enjoy seeing Saturn in tarot readings and in astrology, is when it looks like which it can be good, can be bad, depends which way you're looking at it. It indicates time spent together to sort a situation out. So it can talk of longevity, a karmic pattern, in a possibly, to take a different tack on that, I'm not going to do that, because I was going to talk about karma and the fact that we need to release that, but it's not really important in this reading. It can speak that this relationship is here for a long time, to be able to learn how to connect, how to release, how to laugh, basically. So that's what we've got there. The blockage here to me is awkwardness, inhibition, thought processes that possibly don't serve you, but you've got stuck in them, and it will go on both sides. But the time to be able to dig deep into this connection, to see yourself in that other person and treat that person with a little bit of love. Yeah, I know it can be difficult when things are awkward, but it's the answer to everything. 8 of Pentacles, again, I like the 8 of Pentacles here because it's easier for me because it relates to Saturn. The 8 of Pentacles in this card is, Saturn is Earth, and it can be slow progress. With this card here in particular, you've got the spider weaving the web. So you've got lots of different routes and directions to take, but it will lead you back to this place of release and love and kindness and recognition. 10 of Pentacles here, and the Ace of Swords. As I said at the beginning, the Ace of Swords is, again, a swords card's air, and it's like mental communication. It's like a mental recognition, an idea. The 10 of Pentacles here is a familiar feeling. It's an accumulation of lifetime's activities, possibly with regards to what we've got here. And so there will be a karmic feeling here, and time to be able to, it's like you've spent lifetimes together. And you've come back with, I'm going to sort this out. This may be a little bit harder than normal, but I've got time. And you'll get to that Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, where there is that recognition, that aha moment, and I see. It's like you've done this before together. You keep coming back and coming back until there is some element of, I'm not going to say let go, but with Saturn there is the element of let go. Saturnian people, I think, and I have a deep, deep respect for Saturnian people, the older I get. When I was younger, it was so different from not experiences that I've had, but who I am and who I wanted to be, although I can be quite focused at times, I would sort of divert myself away from these people because it always felt hard and heavy and they didn't know how to laugh. And I was looking for that when I was young. As I get older, I'm like, no, I can, to get things done, that's why we're here. You need you need quite strong Saturn. So that's what I've got here is you've got time to be spent together. The blockage is that it will feel difficult, that it will feel as if it's... when I'm saying this, it might feel my chest closing a little bit. It's like tightness and my throat. And I'm saying this, it's difficult of expressing love or to express love. You've got time to do it, and you've got time to realise that it's all a bit of a strange vibrational game, which, you've got weird goggles on that we can hardly see each other, and that you will recognise yourself in somebody else. Just imagine that when we're all dead and gone, that the people that we fight with or the people that we feel awkward with, that we just all end up in the same soup anyway, which is possibly what's going to happen. So if you can help those people along the way and they help you, that soup's going to be better off anyway. Yeah, you've got a battle here. The blockage is almost like don't get on my turf type feeling, and you've got boundaries here with a Saturn card. This is an unusual feeling. I can give you an example of what it feels like. It can. Let's just say there's two famous people. I don't know. I'm thinking of Courtney Cox here. I don't know why. Anyway, let's say Courtney Cox and her husband. I don't even know who her husband is. I don't know anything about her, apart from friends, obviously. But let's just say Courtney Cox is really... well, she is really famous, isn't she? Loads of money coming in, always getting these contracts, let's just say, and she's in her Hollywood sphere is moving. Maybe this was 10 years ago, I don't really know much about her now. And then her husband is also with the same job as her and wants to be doing the same. And I think I must have read this to be thinking about her and saying this now. But always feels a little bit like she's in the limelight and that's where he's trying to get. So there's an element of possibly, I would say competition, but it's almost like fending it off. So it would leak into the relationship and the love connection, where it was almost like, well, no, I'm going to keep you there because you make me feel inadequate, although it's yourself making himself making himself feel inadequate. Does that make sense? I don't know in this connection whether you get that time to almost like stop fending the other person off, to release yourself and perhaps lower the boundaries a little bit at least. Because this is like anxiety or tension to do with the connection. That feels like you're going to spend a lot of time with this person, but it's like waiting to wake up, and at the moment you're still fighting with it. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if that made sense. I don't know whether it feels right to me either, but yeah. Again, the Devil card is Saturnian, so you've still, and this is a stable card as well with the 4 there. So again, it's implying that this person is in your life for quite a long time. So in a rude way, sort it out as quick as you can. And that would be releasing part of yourself and what you think you should be, where you think, how you think you need to protect yourself. What boundaries do you need to show or to put up? Feeling shut out. And being very practical with it. This is almost like who was it? I don't know how to pronounce this. Is there a man called Osho? And I remember reading something about him where people went to his retreats or whatever he did, and it was really bizarre. I don't know if it was like yelling and shouting and rolling on the floor and all that type of thing, which isn't what you expect from that type of retreat. Because I think I don't know what, I'm going to say Hindu, but I'm not sure. I don't know, to be honest. But there's an element in here. It's almost like a upheaval of personalities is needed to be able to move this forward. And to translate that so it doesn't feel as if it's impossible is a need to stop defending yourselves, to laugh, to see the stupidity in life, because at the moment it's like pushing yourself away from each other, trying to find a practical way forward when it just needs to relax. It's like two people that have set ideas, these cards here, of what is needed in life, and it's not working anymore, and so the attraction possibly is there to release those boundaries. I can give an example that we hopefully better than the last one. Capricorn energy, and can often feel like the Eight of Swords, like there's a tension there with them that they've got to get things completed or done, and in a very sort of formal and perfect fashion. And you can see people like that with the stress on their face. I used to work with an accountant who was is every day his eyes were almost like out of his head with regards to making everything correct. And perhaps you've both got relationships, or you're both in situations that you feel are on that path to correctness, but it doesn't bring you together. So perhaps one person is married, or perhaps one person is in university or has a job that they don't want to let anybody else into, because that is the idea of correct. And on the other side, you've got somebody else doing a similar type of thing, maybe with different scenarios. You've the attractions there, but you're almost like that, as in tightly bound, can't get closer to each other. And that's where the tension is. When what I'm sort of trying to express is this, you can do it like this, but it's just releasing yourselves and relaxing with it. And that may bring you closer together, and you've got the time to do that. So it's almost like to develop individually is part of the lesson in here. And I don't mean develop, it's almost like you possibly feel that you are developed because you've got, maybe your life's moving in a really good way. Saturnian people look on the outside to have it all sometimes, because they have the car, they have the job, but is that what you wanted when you were a baby? You know, when you're like 4 or 5 years old and you're drawing pictures of who you wanted to be when you're older. And there is an element in here because there's control with Saturn. And I feel here there's a fight with it, but the time to sort it out. I don't know. As I said, I'm just sort of discovering. Let's have a look at the support cards below. The Two of Wands, again, is a word I said before, which I still don't know what it is. I'm sure I looked it up, and it is in passé. Basically, it's stuck with the Two of Wands, but still wanting to move forward. This lady's still looking out the window. It's like having plans, having ideas, which doesn't surprise me with the Saturn there. But it's blocked. You know, what do I do next? How do I move? The Eight of Swords and this card here. Six of Wands. Confidence and justice. Well, that's nice actually to put these two cards together. The Justice card is fairness, so there's an equality in this, that you both possibly have the same hiccups in life. And the Six of Wands here is there is a feeling of not losing yourself in the qualities that you have, but allowing them to be in a more relaxed fashion. And there's, you know, let's just say all the things we've said about Saturn, which is always a tough planet, like depression and workaholic and all those things. But Saturn has that in its most positive ways. It's the person that you go through when you need advice. It's the person that's not over emotional in emergencies. It's the person that structures things and organises things so they actually work, like government, like, you know, lots of different examples there I can't think of. But the Six of Wands is to do that, or to be that in a way that feels as if you are not in charge of it, but it's flowing through you and it feels natural rather than prescribed. I don't know what, I don't know what. And there's an element of ease in that because the other person's the same. So it's recognising yourself and releasing part of it. I give you an example here again, very quick example. Is when sometimes certain meditations, you get what's called, and I've said this before in another reading, like a seed idea, where a word comes into your head. You're supposed to say it basically. You're given like 8 words, comes into your head, and then you feel it, or you can think about what that means to you, but you can only do that for like 5 seconds, and then you release it. So it's being it, it's feeling it, but then not really identifying this is the complete me. It's just like a seed. So, right, here's a big job for me. To put this together, why is this connection blocked? And what is blocking the pair of you? It's feeling like your job is far more than it actually is to be together. It's feeling like it's got to be organised, or you've got to be organised, and that you can't come together until this is finished or this is complete. This person's finished college, this marriage is over. And there are different ways to connect without having to really not tick every box, but to feel that it's totally got to be correct. And the way to do that is to relax into the connection, to not always wait for the next point, to not always think it has to be perfect. It's just to be, and to spend time with this person as much as you possibly can without wanting anything, without organising anything, and to let go of perhaps thinking that you have to say the right thing, look beautiful, because that person is the same as you. And I think that's where the blockage actually is, that they think they have to be perfect, which can often be can often result in stilted conversations, not feeling that you look good enough, or the other person's more attractive than you and I should be this, or I should have a better job, we can get together when I earn more, we can get together. This would be the type of feeling if you're older, we can get together when the children leave home type feeling. But this is sort of saying that may be so because you've got time to spend together, but it's almost like, why don't you relax into it now and just connect anyway? It doesn't have to be 100% all the time. And then that's probably where the beauty may actually flourish with the Justice card and the Six of Wands there. It's just seeing each other without it being perfect. Saturn likes perfect. The Eight of Swords is anxious for perfection. So the blockage here is waiting for something that may never come unless you basically release yourself into the connection as it is and accept the other person as they are without being perfect, and to stop striving so hard. I don't know if this feels right, but that's what those cards mean to me. I try and peel them over so that you can see it too. Yeah, it's just connect, just be in the moment. Just be nice, just be kind, just see yourself in the other person. And once you relax, they will relax with you. And there's not that fight. There's not that wondering what big is going to happen next, which Saturn likes to organise things. You get somebody with Saturn and Virgo, to be honest, heavy in the chart, and you're going out for a, I don't know, a little holiday or a weekend away, and they will have... My brother's got Saturn conjunct his moon, and he's like Sergeant Major. We get spreadsheets. We're going on holiday with him in August, and the spreadsheet has come through already. 4 p.m. this place, 8 p.m. this place, next day this place, hike up this mountain. I'm thinking, and we just ignore it because but there is that in there. He likes to organise, and this is like saying that may be part of the battle, is wondering what is going to happen next. It just is this wandering forward, this battle, but you've got time to spend together, so just relax with it, and you will get that aha moment when you both feel like you're both seen, and it's very sort of, justice is that it's fair, it's equal, it's relaxed. Justice is Venus at the end of the day. It's finding beauty in what actually is, not in what could be. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going to leave that there anyway. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye.